So to briefly introduce Adir, Adir is our ACC Coach Certification Program participant. He is in the pharma industry, and that's how he's my industry buddy as well, because I come from the same industry. And Adir has got almost 3 decades of experience, industry experience. He's been working as a trainer, facilitator, and has a great passion in coaching. He has a very strong belief in mind mapping, because he's been talking about since long about mind mapping to me. And I've tried it in the past, but somehow I was not very successful. But after speaking to the other day, I felt that this is a very powerful tool, and let's bring this to our own CTT family as well. So Adir, without much ado, I will now hand this over to you for the power of mind mapping.
Thank you so much, Aishwarya. Let me put up the slide. Yeah. Good evening, friends, and welcome to the webinar on power of mind mapping. At the outset, I'd like to thank Aishwarya and also Arvind, my mentor, and also to all my CTT colleagues for having inspired and motivated me to do this webinar, thus unleashing the potential in me. So at the outset, before we proceed, let us introduce ourselves using the chat box. So can we all use the chat box and have a quick introduction of ourselves?
So Adir, what is it that you want people to type in the chat box?
Yeah, can you have a quick introduction about your name and the place from where you come?
Okay. So your names are already appearing. You did not really actually type them in the chat box. So we have people coming in from Mumbai, Chennai, Pune.
Yeah, we have Nitya from
Delhi.
Chennai.
Yeah. Delhi, Dubai, Pune.
Shailendra from Pune.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, friends, for putting up on the chat box. Let us have a look at the objectives of this webinar. Number one, what is the language that human mind understands? How do I transform the learning from short-term to long-term memory? And how do I make mind maps? Right. By the end of this webinar, you will be able to leverage the language of human mind. Number two, you will be also able to transform the learnings from short-term to long-term memory. And you will be also able to make the mind maps on your own to save the learning. I'm sure you will find a paper and pen handy at the end of this webinar to make a mind map of your own. Right. Let us have a look at one scenario. The scenario is when you hear that tiger is coming close to you, what comes to your mind? So use the chat box and share your thoughts, what comes to your mind instantaneously. So can we have responses on the chat box? What comes to your mind instantaneously when you hear that tiger is coming close to you? Yeah. Can we have some more responses, please? Thank you so much for putting up your responses. I find that Aishwarya has put up a response of picture of a tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I have a chat with you, Aishwarya?
Sure, please.
Yeah. When you come to know that tiger is coming close to you, why is it that the image of the tiger is coming to you and not the spelling of the tiger, that is Tiger?
Because most of the time I associate tiger or anything with a picture. If I see that association stays for a longer time. So the moment you say tiger, I can't see it written as Tiger, but I see a being of tiger and existence.
Excellent. So it also means that when we were learning about tiger way back in our primary schools, we converted this Tiger into an image. And this image is the one which got saved into our memory. And when you hear the word tiger, it is not the Tiger which we learned, which comes to your mind. It is the image which comes to your mind.
Correct.
So it also shows that human brain saves the learning in the form of an images and creates an album. Right? So that brings us to what exactly is the language of human brain. So human brain doesn't understand the language of written or spoken words. So as the human brain reads the human words, written words, it converts the words into images and starts associating and imagining those words. It also means that memory depends on the way that information is fed. So when Aishwarya was learning about the tiger, you fed the tiger as an image of a large animal, yellow in color with striped body. So that is the image that you have fed in the human brain, and that is what you are able to recall now. And every time you feed anything new into the human brain, we all know that we activate new brain cells. So the language that human brain understands is not the form of text or the spoken words. It understands the language of imagination and association. Now let us take one example of this language of imagination and association. We all read newspapers every day. In the weekend, sometimes we may spend an hour on reading a newspaper. How much of it we are able to recall after a day, maybe after 3 days or after a week? If I have to ask one of the participants, can you unmute and share how much of it you are able to recall after a couple of days of what you have read in the newspaper?
Can I say?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, please, Aparna.
Okay, so unless and until that is very impactful, it doesn't stay more than, I think, maybe the 10 minutes that I'm reading the paper, not even. If it is very important and if it is something that actually made me think about, or some new information which I was intrigued about or very curious about, something that actually I found interesting, intriguing, then it will stay for some time because I would probably ponder on it. Otherwise, it's hardly any time. It's the moment the paper goes away, that information goes away.
Excellent, Aparna. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. It also means while I'm reading the newspaper, I am not using my language of the human brain of imagination and association. It means I don't imagine what I read. I don't associate with what I read. And I don't also revise what I read, right? So hence the recall becomes slower and slower. And after a couple of hours or after a couple of days, it fades away, right? So while reading the newspaper, a metaphor, if I have to use, is of an unsaved file. So when I'm reading the newspaper, it is similar to an unsaved file. The moment you close the newspaper or the file, the information is gone. Now the challenge is, how do I transform this short-term memory into the long-term memory? In order to transform this short-term memory into the long-term memory, we need to, the science says that I need to repeat after an hour, after 1 day, after 1 week, and after one month and 1 quarter. These periodicities are not sacrosanct, but it is suggestive. And while I'm also revising what I have learned, I need to also use the language of human brain of imagination and association. It also means I need to imagine what I'm reading. I need to associate also with what I'm reading. And that's how it gets transformed from short-term to long-term memory. Right. I would also like to take you back to our primary school days and help me to complete this very popular rhyme of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Can I request one of the participants to unmute yourself and help me to complete this rhyme, please? We all have gone through this rhyme, a very popular one, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Can one of you unmute and help me to complete this rhyme, please?
How I wonder what you are.
Yeah.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder how you are, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky.
Fabulous, fabulous. Can I have a chat with you now?
Yes.
Yeah. When did you last revise this?
Oh my God, many years. Revisements, I have a niece, so nowadays she keeps saying this. So recently, some 1 month back or something, I must have heard this.
Okay. When did you last learn about this?
When I was probably KG or something, so many years back.
Maybe a couple of decades back?
Couple of, yeah.
Yeah.
35 decades back.
Yeah. So we are not trying to figure out your age, but it's
No, that's okay.
Yeah. So it also means that couple of decades back is what the time that we have learned this rhyme, and ever since then we have not revised it. And even after 3 decades, you are able to recall this rhyme word by word. Even I would say action by action. If you have to do the action, you may even do the action also.
Yes.
Right. So this is a typical example of how the learning has been transformed from short-term to long-term memory. How did this happen? Right. So while we were all in primary schools, our teachers that time have shown us actions of the star. They have also shown us what twinkling means. Our mothers that time have taken us to the terrace and have shown us the star. They have also shown by action what twinkling means. And we have all gone through a couple of times of revisions. And that was the time when we have imagined what star looks like and what twinkling is. And this has been transformed into our long-term memory. So much so that even if you want to delete it from your long-term memory, you will not be able to do. Right. We all know that there are 2 sides of the human brain, left side and the right side. So right side is the one which is known for rhythm, color, shapes, maps, imagination, as well as daydreaming. While the left side is more predominant towards words, numbers, lines, lists, logics, and rationale, as well as analysis. You may ask me which is the one which I need to use more of. The best way is to use a synergism of both the sides so that the efficiency shoots up on combination of both left and right side. The mind map actually uses a combination of both left and right side of the brains. So with this, let us now see what exactly is mind map. As Aishwarya rightly said, mind map was developed by Tony Buzan in late 60s. Tony Buzan has also been an author of several books on mind map, and he is the one who is supposed to be having the highest IQ in the world. Mind map is also a way in making notes using only images and the keywords, because the keywords and the images is what the language that human brain understands. Mind map is a non-linear style which makes it very easier to link the learnings. Mind map is used in studies, in problem solving, in decision making, in also improving the memory. Mind map is also a method of recording information or ideas in a very dynamic way, and it also mirrors the way the human brain processes learning. So let us have a look at several steps in a mind map. So as you are able to see on the screen on the right side, this is how the typical mind map looks like. So a typical mind map will have a central idea or a theme, what you are able to see as a main topic here. It will have several branches. And in the main topic, you can have even an image or a symbol also, which depicts the topic of what you are going to save as a learning. And from the central idea or a theme, we'll have branches coming out, and then there will be sub branches also coming out. And on each of these branch and the sub branch, there will be a lot of information which will be sitting. This information which will be sitting in the form of a acronym, it can be a form of a abbreviation, it can be form of an image, it can be different colors, it can be symbols also. So let us have a look at some of the guidelines of mind map. So there is, you can use different colors because human brain is saves even colors as well. You can use different images, symbols, codes, and dimensions throughout your mind map. And the lines must be connected through the central image. And these lines can be also thicker in the beginning, and it will become thinner as it flows. Use different colors throughout the mind map and develop your own mind map, which is also your own style, because every human brain thinks differently. If I have to talk about technology, everyone who is connected in this webinar will think different about technology, because every human brain thinks different. So you have to put your own thoughts, the way you want to imagine the learnings and the way you associate with the learnings. You can convert the learning into some image and then bring it up on the mind map. And use the emphasis and show associations in your mind map. Let us have a look at the application of the memory hooks. A mind map works through memory hooks. As I said, it uses abbreviations, it uses images, it uses colors, it uses different styles and maybe symbols, because human brain actually saves a mind map as an image. And the moment you have a look at this mind map, the moment you are able to see this mind map as an album in the mind, you are able to convert these images, which works as a hyperlink, and the entire text opens up in your mind. What are the uses of mind map? Mind map can be, as you are able to see on the screen, mind map can be used in personal life. You can even have a family tree by using a mind map. It can be used for educational purposes a lot. A mind map is used in educational purposes a lot. In fact, I have seen some of the learners capturing the entire chapter on a single page using a mind map. In business scenarios and also for note taking and for brainstorming as well. I was talking to one of my colleagues who has converted the entire book that he has read on a single sheet using a mind map. So any new learning that we are going through, this can always be captured on a single sheet using a mind map, which you are able to see on the screen. So what exactly is the power of mind map, which is also the topic of our webinar? So mind map accelerates your learning capacity. It also makes the human brain a very powerful idea generator, because you will get a lot of ideas while you're converting the learning into images, into colors, into shapes, into abbreviations, into acronyms. It also increases your ability to memorize and remember, because you're associating the learnings and converting that into some abbreviations or some metaphors or some images. And those images gets into your albums in the human brain, and that gets into the long-term memory. It boosts your own creativity, because you're using the power of the language of human brain, that is imagination and association. And thus it optimizes the power of human brain. So mind map is also a method of learning, a method of recording information or ideas in a very dynamic way that mirrors the processes of a human brain. What we will now do is we'll have a look at one of the expert in mind map, that is Tony Buzan, and after which we will also learn how to make a mind map. This video runs for about 4.5 minutes, and after which we'll have a debrief on the video and then learn how to make a mind map.
Ade, would you like to take the questions in between, or would you take it at the
You need
end?
to come up with
We'll
brilliant
take the questions at the
ideas
end.
or find inspired solutions to any problem. Tony Buzan is the world's leading author and top lecturer on the brain and learning. He has changed the lives of over 250 million people with his revolutionary system of mind mapping. So, what is a mind map?
A mind map is a thinking tool that reflects externally what goes on inside your head. The mind map was like a Swiss Army knife for the brain. Anything I wanted to do in terms of thinking, contemplation, cognition, remembering, creating, the mind map was the ideal tool for that.
Mind mapping is straightforward and fun. We start in the center of a blank page. We connect branches to the central image and connect second and third level branches to the first and second. And
Brain is radiant. It thinks centrally and explodes out in all directions.
branches are curved and tapered rather than straight-lined. They are organic and free-flowing, as opposed to structured and uniformed.
The branches on a mind map are the reflection of the way the brain thinks. So when you think of anything, if you think of chair, you have your picture and then you have your associations off that. The brain thinks by imagination and association. The reason why traditional note-taking in lists and lines doesn't work, actually is counterproductive, is because it doesn't have the associations. If you don't have associations, you don't have connection. If you don't have connection, you don't have memory and you don't have thinking. In a mind map, the branches are always curved, curvilinear. Reason why? Nature is curvilinear. And if all the branches are straight, it is literally rigid, similar, and therefore boring. The brain will very quickly get unhappy with a whole bunch of rigid, straight lines. It gets absorbed and intrigued by the beauty of curvilinear.
We add one word to each branch.
One of the important points in structuring a mind map is to have one word per branch. Why? Because if you have one word, that one word with all its associations is free. If you put them together, you're making it more rigid. And very simply, for example, if you were mind mapping and you wanted to put Tony Buzan, if you put Tony Buzan, you've stuck them together with glue. But if you put Buzan and then Tony, you've got the freedom to radiate out my father, my mother, my brother, the history of the name, etc. So the single word per line gives you much more freedom, much more creativity, much more clarity. Ideally, the length of the word should be the length of the branch, for the very simple reason that if this word here is then placed next to this word here, and the branch and the word are the same line, then the meeting point is very close. So the two words are in space close, i.e. they're connected. If you've got one word, little word here on a long branch, and a little word over here in a long branch, the words are disconnected. We don't use color in notes traditionally because we are told not to in school. All the research says exactly the opposite should be so. We love color, and studies at London University showed that people who use color and image in their imagination when they are learning and trying to remember inevitably do better than those who don't.
We use images throughout.
Throughout a mind map, there should be keywords and key images. And if an image is easy for you to do, you know, instead of people, you can quickly just draw 3 little stick figures. The image is a picture. The picture is worth 1,000 words. Another important point about the use of images, the use of associations, is that all the great geniuses did that. So if you start to use associations, you start to use images externally, you will join the pantheon of the great geniuses like Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo did it. Darwin did it. Beethoven did it. Every genius used image and associations, and the mind map is the process by which you can do that. It's a genius tool.
Yeah. Are we ready with the paper and pen now to make our own mind maps? So what we will do is I will show you a mind map, how it is made on the screen, and with the paper and pen, you can make a one of your own. So I'm going to make a mind map of myself, and you can make a similar one of your own. So here it goes, if you're ready with the paper and pen. So I am having a central image here. This central image is of my own self. You can have a central image about your own self. you can draw branches. Let it come out as a branch of a tree, because I'm using an arrow here. You can use a branch of a tree which is thicker in the beginning and it thins out. And give it a name. So this mind map is about myself. So the first branch, I'm going to talk about my family. So this name has to come on the branch. And then there will be sub branches. So each of the sub branch will talk about my family. So this is my wife, Neeti. And this is what she is known for. She is a homemaker. So instead of writing homemaker, what I have done is I have converted homemaker into a home. So this image is the one which gets registered in the human mind, because I start imagining and associating myself with this image. And as a part of the family, I have got my children. My daughter is Isha, and she is working in a bank. So instead of writing the bank's name, I have put a symbol of a bank. So when the human brain looks at the symbol, it gets registered. And then this is my son, Amal. And he is a techie, he is an engineer. So he is a communication engineer. So I put a laptop here. So you can have an image of what the family is doing. So convert as much as possible the words into images. As Tony Buzan also rightly said, an image talks more than 1,000 words. So this image of a home or a bank symbol or the computer, these are the images which gets registered, and it's very easy for the human brain to start associating with these images. And the next branch is what you are able to see is of a different color and different thickness. You can have again a branch in your own way. And I am calling it as my academics. So in my academics, I have done a diploma in business management, and I have done a diploma in training and development. So you can have branches of your own, the way you want to give it a name, give it a acronym, give it maybe a symbol. And another branch that I'm going to use, that I have used is again of a different color. And this is my interest area. So you can have an interest area on the branch itself. And I've got two interest areas. One is, of course, of ICF. And the other interest area of mine is IAF. I'm also a member of IAF, that is International Association of Facilitators. The fourth branch that I have made for myself is again of a different color and a different thickness, is about my career. I worked earlier as a sales manager, and now I am a training manager. So this is how I have made a mind map for my own self. You can also have mind maps about your own self the way you want it. So here you can see I have used different colors, different thicknesses, I've used abbreviations. You can also use images where you want to convert the verbal part into the images as much as possible. So instead of putting the text of daughter, what I have done now is I'm putting an image of my daughter. So it's very easy for others also to remember that I have got two kids. So one is a daughter and the other is a son. So these are the images which gets registered. So once you have a look at this image and you start associating with this image, my assurance to you all is, even after several weeks or months or several years, this image gets registered in your mind as an album, and you will be able to recall that there was the image of a boy and a girl in my family. There was an image of a home, which is my wife, homemaker. You can also recall there was an image of a bank, because my daughter was working in a bank, and then there was a image of a laptop, which is what my son is, an engineer. So these are the images which gets registered. So if I had written the text there, the human brain will struggle to save, because human brain does not understand the language of text part of it. It converts into the image. So the best way is use as many images as possible, use different type of memory hooks that you want. Every human brain is different, every human brains think different, and the way you want to imagine and associate yourself with it, try and use as many as possible. Right. How much of it you have completed so far? Can have some feedbacks, please?
Would anybody like to share if they have been able to make a mind map of their own? Oh, ST is done. ST, would you like to show the book or the paper?
Yeah, if you can open, if you can come on video and also share what you have made, that would be lovely.
Hi everyone. It's not that clear, but it's here. I don't know whether it's possible, but I can explain it.
Yeah, please, ST.
When you were talking about family, I wrote my child first.
Okay.
And then I made the circle which symbolizes world.
Okay.
Globe. He's globe for me.
He's a world.
And when I wrote about my husband, in the bracket, I mentioned rock. He's rock solid support for me.
Excellent. Excellent.
So immediately when I was listening to your version of your family, when I was thinking about child, the globe came in front of me. Everything revolves around him. He's the world. And husband, he supports in everything. So the rock came into my mind. He's that solid for my support. Then you were talking about academics. I am also STD, this ISTD certified person. And I have done PhD. I have done NABIT. It's an accreditation body for accreditations. Then you were talking about interest area. I have already mentioned mentoring. I have mentored for almost 20 years now. And it is coaching I have already entered. And when you were talking about career, I have already mentioned I have been recruiting people from past 20 years. And I was a consultant for pharmacy company called Ranbaxy for 8 years.
Okay.
So I have recruited people for recruitment has been one of my major area along with training and development. And then the other branch which I made alongside now is coaching.
Okay.
So that completes my branches of this mind map when I was following your mind map.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. What I am getting from your mind map, ST, is this rock is the one image which I am able to associate and imagine. As you were talking about the rock, I was actually imagining a rock and I was able to see that rock in front of my eyes.
Sure.
So my assurance to you is when I meet you, I don't know when I'm going to meet you, this rock will come in front of my mind.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll be able to associate and I will be able to recall that your husband has been a rock solid support to you.
Sure.
Had you written ROCK, I would not have remembered that at all.
Yes, I have written husband, then I thought about support, then I mentioned rock in bracket, ROCK. Yes, I mentioned it.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. This is one way of making a mind map. In the learning space, if you are reading a textbook or if you are reading a novel for that matter, right, even an entire novel can be converted into a mind map on a single page.
Yes,
so
I understand.
The topic of the book or the novel will be the central image or the theme, and then each of the chapters can be each of the branches.
Okay.
On the branch, you can have the chapter's name, and you can have sub branches. And what are the memory hooks or what are the key points that you are picking up from each of the chapters? You can have on sub branches. Maybe you can convert that into the keywords. Maybe you can convert that into some images, and maybe some more memory hooks in the form of an acronyms.
Okay.
And my assurance is when you have a look at these acronyms or images or any of these memory hooks, it works as a hyperlink and the entire chapter opens up in your mind.
Yes. I can imagine that very well.
Yeah. So try and use as many memory hooks as possible instead of using typical words.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Steve, for sharing your mind map and also your learnings. Yeah. Can I invite one more person?
Can all of you please mute? Actually, all of them are muted, but I'm wondering where is the sound coming from? Okay. Would anybody else like to share? May not be the entire mind map, but at least even the learning or the feel, how it went through, what was the experience? Okay.
Aishwarya, you also have made mind map, right? And you have learned about mind map several years back. So what are your thoughts?
So I'm grateful to you for taking us through the session, Adir, because I realized why I failed in mind maps. So I was actually trying to make mind maps of the books that I was reading, and I miserably failed in that. The reason being, I think I was adding too many words, number one. Then I learned one more thing is that your branch and the word size should be the same, one word per line, and a lot of images. So I wasn't putting any images. I was just putting words. So I realized why I was failing. And after this, I'm going to try once again to see if I can make a good mind map. So,
Okay.
So that's my whole takeaway after this particular session of yours.
Right. Using the mind map, one can also transform the learnings from short-term to long-term memory. Because if you have a look at the mind map several times, each time you have a look at it, the images will get embedded into your mind, and you start associating and imagining these images. So every time you have a look, you are actually transforming the learning from short-term to long-term memories. And my assurance is, over a period of time, these images will be very easy for you to recall, and the entire mind map will be working as an image. And once the image of a mind map opens up in front of your eyes, and you will be able to see all these images and the colors and the abbreviations that you have used and the memory hooks.
Okay. So there was Nityashri had a question, Adir. Is there a way of creating an awareness in knowing which side of the brain is active, or knowing when the switch is happening? See, we're talking about two sides of the brain, and
Yeah.
we're using both. So she's asking, is there a way of creating an awareness in knowing which side of the brain is active, or knowing when the switch is happening?
Yeah, thanks for the query. And it is said that if we are using the synergistic action of both left side and right side of the brain, we get the best of the outcomes. So if you find, if you are able to see on the mind map, we are able to use a combination of right and left side of the brain, where we are using both the components of right and left side. So the best way is use a combination of both right side and left side. It's not that right side is more predominant or left side is more predominant. So in the mind map, typically we use colors, we use shapes, we use lines, we use numbers. So in a way, we are using a combination of right and left side of the brains.
Okay. I don't know if she's online right now. Okay. Anil Bakshi wanted to show his actual notebook. Is he allowed to?
Yeah. Please, if he can come on video and share his mind map, please.
Adhir, my mind map I not made, but I wanted to share something that while taking notes for the lessons or in meetings, so that I come away with the gist and the clarity. This is something which I tend to do.
Okay.
I tend to draw lots and lots of doodles, and I tend to color up things, and I put all these comments onto it. So I find this the way this page as a photograph stays in my head. And I know that on the bottom what I had do, many times there are doodles also while attending some of the meetings with the business leaders. While taking notes along that, I'll draw asterisks, danger marks, I'll draw snakes. So I'll know that these are the weak points, flash points. So if there, I know, so I was not aware of the brain mapping part of it, but to instill a sense of memory and the emphasis and focus that I don't forget it, this is something which I was doing. So that is what I just wanted to share with you, that yes, what you are saying is most of us may be already doing so, but we didn't know that it was a part of a learning method, which is mind map. And the second thing I want to contribute to the question in awareness of knowing which side of the brain is active. You will be surprised to know that into the flying training world, every potential student pilot is subjected to a test. And from that test, we come to know, is he using left side of the brain? Is he using right side of the brain? Because then your training approach, will that person lead a lot of more academic details, or that person learns faster by a physical demonstration? So our left and right hand brains also learn differently. So this kind of a testing, that are you left hand, do you use more of your left brain or do you use more of right brain? For example, in my test, I came out as ambidextrous. My score was exactly 51-49. So I use one brain, 51% other brain. So, and also knowing that you are using left brain more often or right brain more often greatly helps us in our learning styles also. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Yeah, Aishwarya, before the second next question comes up, Anil, thanks for sharing your thoughts. And what I could see is you are using in a way a lot of memory hooks which a human mind understands. You are also using in a way the power of imagination and association, the language that human brain understands, right? And this is how you are also able to save what you want to, right? The mind map also tells us that if you are able to capture all these things into a single page in the form of a central theme and then the branches and the sub branches, instead of capturing it on different pages, you can bring all these things into a single page and you can have it in the form of a mind map. And on a single sheet, everything will be now clearly visible to you, and it will be saved in the mind itself as a learning where you are able to maybe co-create and bring it all together on a single page.
Yes,
so
Adhir,
I would like to appeal to you.
Yeah, I will affirm to you, Adhir, I have sat through 3 to 4 hours long strategic meetings and my entire notes were on one page or half a page.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you.
Anybody else with any other question? So Adhir, I have one question here.
Yeah, please.
So today is the age of 2 minutes Maggi noodles, right? Instant work. Now, when we say that we revise something 5 times, okay, isn't that too time-consuming a process?
Yeah.
That's my first question. And my second question is, when you say drawing of images, now while you're taking down notes, how can you have the images, or how do you practice that you get the images on the spot so that you can actually draw? Or for that matter, even while reading a book, because it's too time-consuming a process, right? So how do you do that?
Yeah, I'd like to address both the questions separately.
Yeah.
Right. Can I have your first question so that we can take up each of them separately?
So it was like, you know, because we want something very instant and you have to revise, you say to put it into a long-term memory, you revise it 5 times at least. Yeah. Of course, at different duration, but that's too time-consuming a process. So is there a way that you can do it a little in a lesser time or something which is, you know, a shortcut to it?
Yeah. Right. Thanks, Aishwarya, for coming up with this query. I would like to also talk about the science behind learning. Every time a new learning or any technical learning is we are exposed to, what we remember or what we are able to recall is about 40%. Right. And as we are able to revise using the power of imagination and association, maybe several times, the percentage of recall keeps on improving. Right. And these numbers of what I have mentioned 5 times is not sacrosanct. These are only suggestive ways.
Okay.
What it says is you need to revise couple of times using the power of imagination and association. And every time you revise, the power of recall, right, improves. Otherwise, it will fade away over a period of time as it sits in the short-term memory.
Okay.
So any new learning that we are exposed to, or any new technical learning that we are getting exposed to, in the first phase of the learning, right, the recall will be hardly 40%. So you attend the best of the sessions, everything looks, goody to you, and you may be able to recall on the same day because of the short-term memory. But as the days goes by, you are able, the recall slows down, and over a couple of days and weeks, maybe it will fade away totally because it was sitting in the short-term memory. So instead of 5 days, maybe you can revise 2 or 3 times. Maybe you can associate more with it. Maybe you can imagine more with it. If you are associating, imagining more with it, it definitely gets transformed into a long-term memory. And as we have seen that rhyme of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, some of the memories are so strongly embedded into a long-term memory that it's very difficult to delete from our long-term memory. It stays with us throughout.
Yeah.
Right. Coming to a second part of the query, a human brain is very creative. So whatever you are able to associate with the learning, right? If you can keep capture it in the form of a memory hook. So we need to use our power of creativity and imagine ourselves as what we are learning and what you are able to see and imagine and associate yourself with that. Anything which comes to your mind. It need not be the same image. Anything that comes to your mind, because that is the way your human mind remembers and associates. So while you are reading and while you are learning, whatever comes to your mind as an image or as an association, you need to capture that.
So I'll give you an example. So when we were making the family tree, I wanted to put my father, and he being a businessman, I was trying to think, how do I draw an image of a business? And I couldn't think of doing that. So that's what my question is, how do you come up with the images to stay on the paper?
Yeah, so I don't want to influence your mind. You can think of, maybe you can put some currency there.
Okay. Okay.
So business can be in the form of a currency. And if you are having a central image as a currency, that's what maybe depicts business.
Maybe a small factory model or an image.
I tried making a factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it basically comes with practice, you're saying?
Yeah. So try and explore and be a little more creative. Whatever comes to your mind when it comes to converting the words into images. So the more of images that you capture, the more of colors that you use, the more of memory hooks that you use, it gets registered in the human mind, and we start associating ourselves with that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Adir.
My pleasure.
Anybody else has any other question?
Yeah. Like to invite any more questions if it is there.
All right.
Adir, I have just one query. I don't know whether it is related to this or not, but it is when you were talking earlier in the session that we generally, when we read a newspaper, what we remember, I mean, the pictures and everything. I was having this doubt there itself that I generally remember things or pictures which mainly comes into my implementation of any type of work, maybe past, current or future. Whenever I'm reading, I'm only able to recall those things in few days or next day that is being implemented by me. So is it again the something related to mind mapping that I only remember only those things which comes into my implementation?
Yeah.
And I remember it for months and years also.
Excellent, ST. So what you are able to recall is what you have associated yourself with.
Okay.
So any topic that you have read in the newspaper, you are able to associate yourself with. Right? And that's how you are imagining the topic which is of your association, which is of your interest, which is of your domain.
Okay.
And that's how you are able to connect very well and associate yourself with that. And that's how it gets transformed into long-term memory. And that's what is making you recall after maybe several weeks or several months. Had you not associated yourself with that topic, if it is out of your domain, you may not obviously associate yourself with that, and then it becomes very difficult to recall.
Okay. So having said that, it means I associate when I do my mind mapping. So it means I associate with things more rather than the imagination part.
Exactly.
You mean to say that?
Yeah. So it is a combination of both, ST. You need to associate yourself with that. You need to also imagine. That's what I was sharing with Aishwarya some time back. You need to use the power of creativity of the human mind.
Okay.
Imagine and use the creativity and bring in as many memory hooks as possible.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, so if no more questions, Adir, I would like to thank you for this wonderful session. It has been really an eye-opener for me because I have personally liked mind maps and I have not been able to succeed in doing that. But after the session, I will give it another try and I'm hopeful that I will succeed. Yeah, and if not, then I will come back to you.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, thank you so much for this particular session. Very, very insightful. And thank you all for participation. See you soon for the next webinar now.
And thank you everyone for having participated in this and for sharing your thoughts. And thank you so much.